We are live. This is Math 40, elementary algebra, and we're in 1.6 and we're multiplying and dividing real numbers. And in order to do that, I've brought in my friends, the Bat Brothers, and they are here to talk about negative numbers. Woohoo! Because I love puppets. So, what the heck do negative numbers and Bat Brothers, baby bats, or goth kids? If you're not 400 years old, maybe you know this as an emo kid. Basically, someone who loves the darkness, loves Dracula, and who doesn't love Dracula, blah, blah. I'll leave him in here. This is a very dark and spooky video. And oh my gosh, I should have lit some candles. Okay, next time I will light some candles. So basically, the way that I see numbers, and this is going to work for you throughout much of math, that I see a negative number as a sad number or an emo number. I see a plus as a positive, happy number. And I know that I made it a little confusing because my bats do have smiles on them, but they're smiling because they're together. So the one thing that makes negative numbers the happiest is when they're together. If you get a single minus, you bring in another minus, you know what happens. Two minuses together, ta-da, make a plus. See how that happens? Make a plus. Which is dangerous because, you know, if you end up making a plus, then Dracula's like, oh no, and he has to run away. Okay, so two minuses, make a plus. The only thing that makes someone who's emo and focused on darkness, I'm sorry, I've been, you can see all the ink because I've been making puppets. It's, you know, what I do. So the only thing that makes negative numbers happy is to have two of them together. What the heck do I mean by this? Well, let's take a look over here. We're going to go ahead and multiply. Now, I will write it larger again, just to make it easier to view. Normally, if it were just regular 9, positive 9 times regular 3, positive 3, 9 times 3 is 27. But what do we do with the two minuses? Well, if there are two minuses, two negative numbers, what's going to happen? Each of them is sad, but together they're positive, they're happy. It's a plus sign. So we get positive 27 as our answer, which you can just write as 27. Sometimes I'll write a plus in front of a number to emphasize that it's positive, but generally speaking, we don't usually write the positives, the pluses, in our final answer if it's a single number. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all of them negative. Negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5. Oh my gosh, there are so many negative numbers. So let's take a look at this. If they're all getting multiplied, remember any two, one by itself is sad. Oh, sad. But two of them together make a plus. So these two together, you're going to end up with a positive number. These two, you're going to end up with a positive number. But this is very sad. Negative 5 has no one to talk to, so he's going to be sad. So the negative persists. So I can tell you without even knowing what the absolute values multiplied together give me, I can tell you that this is a negative number. Okay, so now let me see. Negative 1 times negative 2 is positive 2. Times negative 3 is negative 6. Times negative 4 is positive 24. Times negative 5 is, I happen to know, 5 days. So positive 24 times negative 5 is 120. And I know everyone's going, what the what? So with multiplication, you can multiply in any order you like. We haven't talked about this yet, so this is kind of spoilery. But you can multiply in any order you like. But if I want to go in a line, if I go from -1 to -2, that's -1 times -2 equals +2. And then if I come to here, 2 times -3 is -6. Okay, then I come to here. -6 times -4 is what? 24. And then 24 times -5 is -120. Woohoo. Okay, so can I show you one other way we can be sneaky about this? Because this was hard. This was not easy at all in my mind, because I don't always remember what 5 times 24 is. So I could have brought in a calculator, obviously. But before we do that, let me show you something else. What if I took these numbers but changed the order? So what if I did, I'm going to multiply -1 times -2, and then I'm going to move the -5 in here in the middle, and then -3 and -4. And again, this is something we're going to get to in this section. So this is kind of spoilers for what's coming up. But if I multiply these three things together, I happen to know -1 times -2 is +2 times -5 is going to be a -10. Or I can see three minuses and know it's an odd number, so it'll be -10. Okay. And then these two together, because this is all multiplication, so I can smush it around however I like. Put parentheses around there so no one gets hurt. -3 times -4 is +12. And then wait a minute, -10 times +12. I know that whenever I multiply 10 times something, I just take the number and add a 0 at the end. And then I know that this is negative, this is positive, so the whole thing is negative. So you can change the order of multiplication to make it easier if you'd like. Woohoo! Okay, this is awesome. Yes. Listen to the creatures of the math. What beautiful music they make. Okay, let's talk about some facts. Oh, quick behind the scenes peek at my ring light. I know, I'm so fancy. Fact: 1 times any real number is, so if you multiply times 1, you get that number. Woo! 1 times -4 is -4. Okay, 0 times any real number is 0. 0 times -4 is 0. So 0, it's gone. -1 times any real number. Now let's look at this. -1 times like -4 would be, what is that? You got it, +4. What is -1 times a +4 though? -4. So what is happening here? So basically, if you multiply by -1, you just get the opposite of that number. So if it started out negative, it's positive. If it started out positive, it's negative. The opposite of that number. Okay. Fun fact. The product of I know this sounds like blah, 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 but hold out. Stay with me. Stay with me. This is not that bad. The product, so we're multiplying, right? Of a non-zero real number. So in other words, don't do 0. 0 does some weird stuff, as we know here. 0 makes everything disappear when we multiply. So we're going to leave it out of a lot of the multiplication stuff we're going to do, just because it's like someone coming through and smashing your sandcastle. So we're going to avoid 0 for a lot of this. So non-zero real number. So any other number you want to use, and it's reciprocal. So a non-zero real number, let me pick the number, I don't know, 6. I feel like 6. What is the reciprocal of 6? That means we take, in this case, we flip it upside down. So 6 times 1/6, let's see. In order to multiply two fractions, or two numbers, they both have to be fractions, right? If one is a fraction, make them both fractions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 6 and I'm going to write it as 6/1. Any whole number, where's my handy dandy highlighter? Any whole number can be written as a fraction by putting 1 underneath. Now, what's going to happen? Right example. What's going to happen is the 6 down below and the 6 on top will cancel. And what's left? Just a bunch of 1s on top and a bunch of 1s on the bottom, which is 1. Okay, let's see if that always happens. So let's pick another example. I want to pick -2/3, of course, because I had to pick a hard one. But again, I want to try to do a mixture of easy ones and hard ones in these videos. The easy ones to introduce the concept, easier, I should say, not easy, and then harder ones because, let's be honest, if I leave you to do all the hard ones on your own, I'm not really helping, am I? So let's do a hard one. Okay, so the reciprocal, I always have trouble spelling this. Reciprocal is, so we need to flip this upside down, so it'd be -3/2. Notice that it's still negative. Reciprocation, there you go, does not change the sign. It just takes the whole fraction and flips it upside down. So let's multiply -2/3 times -3/2. Okay, first thing, let's bring in the Bat Brothers. First thing is I've got two negative numbers. So they're negatives. They're individually, they're sad, but together they're so happy. Yay, it's a plus. Okay, so I know that my sign is going to be positive. And then I've got 2/3 times 3/2. Notice what I did? I dealt with the signs up front. You're totally allowed to do that. And then I'm just multiplying the absolute value, the numbers without the signs attached, because I sorted out the signs right there. Now, the thing is because I took the reciprocal, the 2's cancel. And so do the 3's. Everything cancels, just like up here, everything cancels. So I get 1/1, which is just 1. So wait a minute. With a whole number, we got 1. With the fraction, we got 1. What are you going to guess that when you multiply by the reciprocal, you flip it upside down, everything's going to cancel. So the product of a non-zero real number and its reciprocal is 1. Always 1. Isn't that awesome? Not -1, not 0, not just 1. Woohoo. Yay for math. Okay, I'm going to peek here, see how bad it is so I can warn you. Oh, we can totally handle this. Let's do this page. Find the reciprocal of each number and then multiply. So normally, if we were in a classroom setting, what I would ask for you to do is I would take a moment and I would say, okay, I want you guys to go ahead and do each of these and then multiply. And then I would give the whole class, 5 or 10 minutes. I'd walk around the room. I'd answer questions. So what I would love for you to do is to take these numbers, 2, -2, 2/3, -1/5, and 0, and pause the video, try these on your own, and then go ahead and start up the video. Okay, so we can do a little bat dance, a little goth dancing, industrial music. Okay, pause the video. Okay. Magie.